Hey Reddit. I never thought I'd be one of those guys posting here, but I guess life has a messed up sense of humor. I, 34M, have been married to my wife, Jenna, 32F, for 6 years. We've had our ups and downs like any couple, but nothing that ever made me question our foundation until recently. Jenna works in a mid-sized marketing firm, the kind where office gossip spreads faster than wildfire. She's always been ambitious, but lately, it felt like it shifted into overdrive. She started talking constantly about this huge opportunity at work, a promotion to senior account director. It would come with a serious salary bump and a lot of influence in the company. At first, I was all in. I supported her 100%. I picked up extra chores at home, even canceled a few guys' nights to give her space to work late. She kept saying, "Just a few more weeks of grind, babe, and we'll be golden." I believed her. I wanted to believe her. But then things got weird. She started guarding her phone like it held the nuclear codes. She never used to mind me grabbing it to cue up music or check directions, but now it was always face down or in her purse. She also started working a lot of late nights, more than made sense for the role she was already in. I tried to brush it off. Told myself it was just the stress of the promotion, that I shouldn't be the paranoid husband who jumps at shadows. But you know how they say when you feel something's wrong, it probably is? I didn't know it yet, but I was on the edge of a cliff. And the fall was coming. Alright, so here's where things start to spiral. It was a Thursday night, maybe 3 weeks after Jenna had first started going all in for the promotion. She said she'd be working late again, big client pitch in the morning, yada yada. I didn't question it. I ordered some Thai food, cracked open a beer, and figured I'd chill with some Xbox. But then around 10 p.m., I heard her phone buzz. She'd accidentally left it on the kitchen counter. That alone was weird, considering how glued to her phone she'd been lately. I tried to ignore it. I really did. But it buzzed again. And again. Curiosity got the better of me. I picked it up. The screen lit up with a preview of a message. It was from a contact saved as M. Daniels, her boss. I didn't even have to open the message fully. The preview read, "Last night was incredible. You're amazing, Jenna. Can't wait to see you again in that dress, or out of it winking face." I felt my stomach drop like I was on a roller coaster from hell. My hands were shaking as I unlocked the phone, and there it was. A full thread of texts going back weeks. Flirting. Compliments. Inside jokes. And yeah, explicit photos. My wife. Half naked in a hotel room. Posing. Smiling. I remember just standing there in the kitchen, holding her phone like it was a live grenade. My heart was racing. My ears were ringing. I felt stupid. Like the kind of dumb you feel in your bones. She had been sleeping with her boss. 4 weeks. While I was at home making sure her coffee was hot and the laundry was folded, she was screwing her way up the corporate ladder. And the worst part? She was doing it behind a mask, smiling, hugging me, acting like everything was fine. I didn't sleep that night. I just sat on the couch, phone in my hand, scrolling through the texts over and over like a masochist. I didn't know what I was going to do yet. But I knew one thing for sure. She wasn't going to gaslight her way out of this one. The next morning, I didn't say a word when Jenna walked through the door around 7:30 a.m. She looked disheveled but tried to play it off like she'd pulled an all-nighter at the office. "God, I'm dead," she said, tossing her purse on the couch. We were at it all night. I'd barely got any sleep. I looked up from the table, deadpan. "Yeah, I read all about it." She froze. Her keys slipped from her hand and clattered to the floor. "What?" she asked, eyes narrowing like she was already building her next lie. I tossed her phone across the table. "M. Daniels says hi." There was this half second, where her face twisted. Not with guilt. Not with remorse. But with panic. "Oh my God, you went through my phone," she snapped, like I was the villain here. "You had no right to invade my privacy." That was her first reaction. Not denial. Not apology. Defense. Like some courtroom Karen. "You're seriously flipping this on me?" I said, standing up. "You've been cheating on me with your boss and your first thought is to scold me for finding out?" "I didn't cheat," she said sharply. "You don't understand how complicated things have been." Complicated? I laughed, that kind of hollow, bitter laugh that doesn't feel like your own voice. "Explain to me how you ended up in a hotel room with a guy you work for." She crossed her arms and rolled her eyes like she was the one dealing with my nonsense. "It's not like that. You don't get it. I've been under so much pressure. He's the only one who really supports me. And it's not just about sex, it's a career move, okay? He believes in me." My jaw damn near hit the floor. "So this is your plan? Sell your dignity for a better cubicle and a pat on the back?" "Don't be dramatic," she hissed. We argued for nearly an hour. She dodged, twisted, lied, blamed. Said I'd been distant lately. That she felt neglected. That it just happened. She tried every trick in the book, like she'd been rehearsing for this moment, crying without tears, shouting about how hard she works, spinning a story about how she didn't mean for it to happen. But here's the thing, when someone's guilty, their words are just noise. You start watching how they speak, not what they say. And all I saw in her was contempt. Not sorrow. Not regret. Just fear of getting caught. That's when I knew this wasn't some mistake. It was a choice. Repeated choices. And now it was my turn to make one. After that argument, something inside me broke, not with a bang, not with some dramatic shout or rage-fueled outburst. Just silence. A deep, eerie silence like the sound your heart makes when it finally stops hoping. Jenna stormed off to the bedroom, muttering something about how I always make everything about me. I just sat there at the kitchen table, staring at her unlocked phone, the last few messages still burned into my brain. I didn't sleep that night. Not even for a second. It's hard to explain to someone who hasn't been betrayed like this, but it feels like your mind is constantly flipping through a slideshow of your life together, trying to make sense of where things went wrong. You start questioning everything. Every late night, every work trip, every time she was too tired for intimacy. I kept wondering, was it always a lie? Or did she change? Or worse, did I just never really know her at all? There were moments I wanted to scream, to throw something, to punch a wall. But instead, I just sat there, numb, hollow, detached. I remember thinking about the first time we met. She was working part-time at a bookstore, of all places. She used to light up when she talked about literature, her eyes practically sparkled. That girl? That girl would have never done this. But the woman in our bedroom now? She was someone else. Ruthless. Manipulative. Calculated. And the worst part? I still loved her. Yeah. Even after all of it, a part of me, some wounded, pathetic, desperate part, still loved her. And that's what hurt the most. By the next morning, I couldn't even look at her. She acted like nothing happened. Poured herself coffee, put on makeup, talked about a big meeting coming up. Like we hadn't just shattered everything the night before. It was surreal. Like living with a stranger wearing my wife's skin. I knew then that I couldn't keep pretending. I needed answers. I needed closure. I needed to do something. And I was about to make a decision that would change everything. That morning, watching Jenna sip her coffee and hum like everything was fine, I made a decision. I couldn't sit back and let this unravel in silence. I needed her to say it. Out loud. I needed to hear the truth from her lips, no matter how much it would tear me apart. So I followed her to the hallway, blocking the door just as she was about to head out. "We're not doing this," I said. She gave me a look. That same look she gives when she thinks I'm being overly emotional or insecure, a slight tilt of the head, narrowed eyes, lips pursed like I'm some child throwing a tantrum. "What now, Adam?" I held up her phone. I'd already screenshotted everything and sent it to myself just in case she tried to deny it. I know about you and David. She froze. For a split second, I thought I saw something flash in her eyes, not guilt, not remorse, just irritation. Like I'd ruined her day. I read the messages, I continued. The meet me after the meeting, the close the deal with dinner and me in your bed, crap, I read all of it. Silence. Then, like clockwork, came the lies. Oh my God, you are so paranoid. That was nothing. We were joking around. He flirts with everyone at the office. Joking? You let him call you his executive perk. That's not flirting, Jenna. That's not a joke. That's disgusting. She crossed her arms, rolled her eyes. You're being dramatic. Do you know how hard I've worked to get where I am? And you'd love it if I failed just so you could feel like the bigger man, right? That one hit like a sucker punch. I couldn't believe it. She wasn't denying the affair, not really. She was deflecting, twisting the whole thing into some martyr story about me holding her back. That's when I said it. Just admit it. You're sleeping with your boss for a promotion. Just say it. She stared at me. Cold. Empty. And then, she smiled. Fine. I did what I had to do. I didn't hear you complaining when my paycheck covered our mortgage. There it was. The truth. Sharp and poisonous, like a dagger dipped in acid. She walked past me, slamming the door behind her. And I just stood there, every ounce of love I had for her leaking out of me like air from a punctured tire. After she left, I just sat on the floor. It was like my body couldn't decide what emotion to land on. Anger? Numbness? Sadness? Betrayal? It was all swirling at once, like a tornado in my chest. I kept replaying her last words over and over in my head. I did what I had to do. That line broke something in me. She wasn't sorry. She wasn't conflicted. She wasn't even ashamed. She saw this as a power move. As strategy. And somehow, she thought I should understand it. I didn't eat that day. Barely drank water. I just paced around the house like a ghost, bumping into memories, wedding photos, anniversary souvenirs, her perfume bottle on the dresser. All of it felt tainted now. Plastic and fake. I called in sick to work and sat in my car for hours, engine off, just watching the world move around me. Wondering how many other people were out there living double lives. Wondering how long I'd been the punchline in some corporate sex joke. I couldn't help but stalk her socials. She just posted a photo of herself at some women in business brunch. Smiling. Beaming. Like she hadn't just destroyed our marriage the day before. The comments? Full of fire emojis and "you're killing it, Queen Crown dot." I wanted to scream. I started thinking of all the signs I missed. The extra late nights. The cold shoulder. The excuses wrapped in ambition. And every time I believed her because I wanted to believe her. Because I didn't want to be the insecure husband who couldn't handle a successful wife. The self-loathing hit hard. I wasn't just grieving her betrayal. I was grieving the version of myself that trusted her so blindly. That stood beside her at her graduation. That supported her through those hellish early jobs. That cheered her on when she finally landed this dream position. Was it all just a stepping stone for her? I couldn't sleep that night. My body was exhausted, but my mind kept racing. At 3:24 a.m., I found myself Googling divorce lawyers. Not because I was ready. But because I knew for the first time that I needed an escape plan. The next morning, I finally told someone, my best friend, Chris. He and I have been tight since college, and I needed someone to reality check me. We met at a diner and I spilled everything, the emails, the confrontation, her cold reaction. He didn't interrupt. Just listened, nodded, and let me rant. Then he said something that stuck with me. You're trying to make sense of a lie. You'll drive yourself crazy trying. And he was right. I kept digging for logic in her betrayal, some rhyme or reason, but there wasn't any. She lied because it served her. She cheated because she could. That's it. I finally got the guts to contact a lawyer. We set up a consultation. I was still torn. A part of me hoped she'd come to her senses, apologize, fight for us. But instead, I got served with a surprise. She came home that evening with a bottle of wine and this fake sweet voice, like she was trying to play house again. "Let's talk like adults," she said. She sat across from me and calmly explained how she thought we should take a break, maybe separate for a while. Just to figure ourselves out. I asked her, "So what, you want time to date your boss without feeling guilty?" She smirked. Then she said, "Don't be dramatic. It's not that black and white." Oh, but it was. She wanted space to mess around while keeping me as her backup plan. Her emotional security net. I realized right then, this wasn't just cheating, it was manipulation. And she'd been perfecting it for years. That night, I didn't argue. I told her I needed time too. But behind the scenes, I quietly moved money into a separate account, changed my passwords, backed up all messages and evidence, and got my legal ducks in a row. My lawyer advised me to avoid confrontation and stay calm. Let her think she's still in control. So I played along. Let her smile. Let her act like she was still the power player. Let her text him behind my back while I cooked dinner. Because soon, I'd pull the rug out from under both of them. So, while she was playing her little game, I was setting the board for checkmate. The lawyer helped me draft everything: separation terms, asset protections, custody clauses for our dog, because yes, I was keeping Waffles, no way she gets him. I stayed calm, strategic. Let her think I was still processing. Every fake smile she threw my way, every "I just need space" speech she gave, I took mental notes. She thought I was weak. Broken. She had no idea. One Friday afternoon, I left work early and drove straight to her office. I wasn't planning on a dramatic scene, I just wanted confirmation. I parked a block away and waited. An hour later, I saw her walking out with him, her boss all smiles and handsy. They didn't see me. He kissed her cheek. She laughed and touched his arm. It was textbook sneaky romance behavior. And that was it. That was the final piece of the puzzle. The denial, the lies, the gaslighting, it all snapped into place. I snapped a few photos, not for revenge, just for legal backing. Sent them straight to my lawyer. That evening, I came home like nothing happened. She was in the kitchen, sipping wine and playing music. She looked at me like she pitied me. Like she was the one being brave, making tough decisions for our future. She even said, "Maybe one day you'll thank me for this." I wanted to laugh in her face. But I didn't. I played it cool. Told her I'd be out of town that weekend to clear my head. She nodded, barely looked up from her phone. While she was sleeping that night, I packed a suitcase, took Waffles, and left. I didn't slam the door. I didn't leave a note. I just left. The next morning, my lawyer filed everything. Served her at work, poetic, right in front of her desk, right in front of him. I heard she cried. I didn't care. Later that night, I blocked her on everything. For the first time in years, I felt peace. I thought I was done with her drama, but the universe had one more surprise in store. About 2 weeks after I served her the papers, I got a call from her sister, of all people. We weren't close, but she was always decent to me. She goes, "Hey. I know this is none of my business, but have you seen what's going on at her office?" I hadn't. I'd scrubbed everything about my ex from my life, social media, mutual friends, even Spotify playlists. But her sister insisted I check Reddit. Apparently, someone in her office posted a thread on a corporate gossip sub about a married woman sleeping her way into a promotion, and how the affair got exposed after the man's wife found out and leaked everything to HR. Turns out, her boss was married, too. And his wife? She wasn't playing games. She went full scorched earth. Collected evidence. emailed HR, forwarded texts. Even pulled up financial records from company trips where they'd booked adjoining rooms. I guess it wasn't just her promotion that was at stake, it was his job too. By the end of the week, they were both suspended pending investigation. 2 days later, he resigned for personal reasons, and she got demoted and transferred to a smaller branch in another city. Her big career leap? Gone. Reputation? Torched. Office gossip? Relentless. And me? I was sipping whiskey on my balcony with waffles at my side, watching the sunset. Free. Light. Unaffected. She tried calling me that night. New number. Voicemail full of "I made a mistake, and you were the best thing that ever happened to me." Crying. Sobbing. I didn't respond. Just forwarded it to my lawyer and went on with my night. She chose her path. Now she's walking it alone. If you'd told me a year ago that my wife, the woman I planned to grow old with, would throw away our marriage for a shot at a corner office, I would have laughed in your face. But here I am, single, sober from her lies, and a hell of a lot wiser. Here's what I've learned, take from it what you will. 1. Your gut knows before your brain does. I ignored red flags because I wanted to believe the best in her. The sudden late nights, the "he's just a mentor" stuff, the coldness in our bed, I justified all of it. Never again. If something feels wrong in your soul, listen. 2. Loyalty doesn't mean sacrificing your dignity. I tried to be the supportive husband. I encouraged her. Bragged about her. Covered for her stress. And when she betrayed me, I still wanted to fix things. But loyalty to someone who spits on your trust isn't noble, it's self-destruction. 3. Closure is overrated. Peace comes from action. I thought I needed a dramatic apology or some grand confession to move on. Turns out, I just needed to walk away. No yelling. No revenge plan. Just silent, steady detachment. That hurt her more than anything else could have. For people don't accidentally cheat. She lied, gaslit, manipulated, and planned her betrayal. It wasn't a drunken mistake or moment of weakness. It was strategy. If someone cheats, it's not about you. It's about who they are when no one's watching. 5. Rebuilding is hard. But freedom feels better than fantasy. There were nights I hated sleeping alone. Holidays that felt hollow. But now, I wake up without suspicion, I come home to peace, and I look in the mirror without wondering if I'm a fool. That freedom is priceless. If you're in a similar place, hurting, second-guessing, spiraling, hear this. You don't need them to be whole. You were always whole. They just chipped away at your shine. Leave, heal, rebuild, and when they come crawling back, remember. You're not the same person who begged them to stay.